A few minutes later.
Now to the other developing headline here tonight, that deadly wildfire emergency in Washington state. Just a short time ago, Spokane declaring a state of emergency. Hundreds of homes and businesses are now at risk. The entire city of Medical Lake forced to evacuate. Thousands of acres charred with gusty winds fueling the flames. And British Columbia has also declared a state of emergency as Canada experiences a record-breaking wildfire season. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee.
Since the 1,990 forest and land fires in Indonesia, especially in Sumatra and Kalimantan, have become a recurring environmental disaster. Data from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry shows that an average of 2.6 million hectares of forest burn each year, 60% of which are on highly flammable peatlands. Forest fires are not just about losing trees, they're a disaster that touches every sector. The environment, ecosystem destruction, loss of biodiversity, and carbon emissions that accelerate the climate crisis. The social communities lose their home, and conflicts emerge, and people are forced to migrate due to air quality crisis. The economic major loses in agriculture, tourism, and the burden on state recovery budgets, and the health, a dramatic rise in respiratory infection, especially among children and the elderly.
Forcing I-90 to close for 20 miles. Medical Lake ordering all city residents to get out now.
A lot of devastation in those areas.
This summer, one of extreme and dangerous weather. Across the border in Canada, South Eagle Friday evacuated Yellowknife amid a record-breaking fire season. The capital of the Northwest Territories now deserted.
East Asia. So, what's been done since then?
They've come to some way in the last 20 years, and they need to push harder. The meetings were held recently.
Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan atau KLHK mengklaim asap dampak kebakaran hutan dan lahan tak sampai melintas ke negara Malaysia atau ke Singapura.
At diplomatic level, transboundary has triggered tension between nations. revealing to the world the weak environmental governance in Indonesia.
Dalam upaya menyelesaikan masalah kabut asap lintas batas yang berdampak pada negara mereka. Menanggapi hal ini, Dirjen Pengendalian Perubahan Iklim KLHK dalam konferensi pers yang digelar di kantor Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup dan Kehutanan atau KLHK mengklaim asap dampak kebakaran hutan dan lahan di Indonesia tak sampai melintas ke negara lain. Hal tersebut didapat berdasarkan temuan dari data ASEAN Specialized Meteorology Center ASMC serta data BMKG.
Itu tidak terdeteksi adanya asap lintas batas. Memang ada konsentrasi asap pekat di lokasi di mana terjadi kebakaran hutan, khususnya di daerah Sumatera Selatan, Jambi, Kalimantan Selatan, dan Kalimantan Tengah. Ada potensi, tapi memang berdasarkan data itu belum ada, karena itu pasti akan ada alert atau akan ada indikasi. Kita akan diinformasikan baik dengan oleh Himawari maupun oleh ASMC kapan lintas batas asap lintas batas.
Central Kalimantan Fires 2015. In 2015, Central Kalimantan was hit by devastating fires. Thousands of hectares of peatland burned. Producing teak has that spread to Malaysia and Singapore. We could leave our home. All the children were sick. Our house was filled with smoke, and even masks were hard to find. The crisis caused major health and economic loss. Yet legal action against perpetrators were slow and ineffective. Riau fires 2019. 4 years later, Riau province has hit again. Peatlands and palm oil plantation burning intensely. Empty school, children wearing masks, ambulance rushing in and out of clean. Air quality deteriorated rapidly. The government declared an health emergency. Once again, the international community spoke up. How long will Indonesia let this happen?
So they tend to do it fast and quickly.
And it's not just small-scale farmers at work. Many of these fires are started by big palm oil corporations too. But why is it so difficult to police them?
The local authorities are supposed to be in charge, but they have difficulty and capacity problems enforcing. From Jakarta, they can investigate, but they will have to increasingly use satellite imaging and data sensing, which they are doing. In the last few weeks, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry has announced that they're after 11 big companies in South Sumatra and other parts of Indonesia, including Kalimantan. They're after about 200 companies, and this list could go on. It is difficult, though, to prove the case and then to punish them now.
But beyond man-made reasons, the changing weather patterns play a role too.
The problem is that the fires run out of control when there are dry conditions. And this year, we're seeing the return of a dry weather.
Sumatra and Kalimantan accounted for 2/3. Pollutants in haze can lead to significant long-term health issues, such as respiratory ailments. And here's a reminder that the people closest to the source of the haze suffer the most. In August 2023, the South Sumatra Health Agency reported an increase of 4,000 cases of respiratory ailments, up from July. And in South Kalimantan, more than 189,000 residents had respiratory ailments. Choking smoke affects more than just our health.
A prolonged haze will have an economic impact because it will tend to lead to less activity. People tend to stay at home. It's like a minor version of what this place is doing. And it deepens the economy as a result. The economic impacts to Singapore are smaller. The impacts to Malaysia is especially to international. Because of that density of the haze and the more often, it tends to be very positive in our trade, traffic, tourism.
In 2002, the ASEAN Agreement on Transboundary Haze Pollution was signed in an effort to combat haze pollution in Southeast Asia. So, what's been done since then?
They've come some way in the last 20 years, and they need to push harder. The meetings were held recently in Singapore. It's expensive, and it's quite depends on your luck, depends on the wind patterns. The key is to invest in fire prevention. The problem of slash and burn continues, oftentimes because it's sparked by the smallholders. They don't have the capability to clear land another way. So we really do need to spend time educating and also giving them the finance and path to do their crop growing, to have their livelihood without creating the fires and haze.
Forest fires are not a curse of nature, but they're the result of policies, economic decisions, and weak governance. But that doesn't mean solution doesn't exist. These are solutions for forest fires. First, enforce the law firmly. Leave no room for violations. Second, use satellite technology for early detection and hotspot monitoring. Third, educate farmers about no-burn agriculture methods. Fourth, rehabilitate peatlands and restore damaged ecosystem. Fifth, build environmentally friendly alternative economies for local communities. Sixth, cross-sector collaboration and international support are vital to creating real change.
Beneath the thick fog and reddened sky, a looming threat hides, one that not only destroys trees and wildlife, but also disturb social order and national stability. This is the reality of environmental security, a concept that links environmental condition with human and national security. Environmental security is not longer just an academic concept. It's now at the front line of Indonesian battles against climate and environmental collapse. Forest fires reflect an crisis of governance and structural inequality. But with shared commitment from the government, society, and the global community, we can break this cycle of disaster. We have a choice to keep burning or to ignite hope.
California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Masa gara-gara masalah sepele. Kita tes ya. Tuh, wah. Masa gara-gara masalah sepele. Pukul we. Masa gara-gara masalah sepele. Nah, salah sudah.
Mas sudah lihat apa ini?
Coba yang tadi yang aslinya. Coba yang aslinya. Masa gara-gara masalah sepele. Sepele.
Jangan lagi coba nih.
Masa gara-gara masalah sepele. Masa gara-gara masalah sepele.
Apa?
Kayak apa sih anjir?